Hello and welcome. My name is Justin.
And I'm Draven.
And you have tuned into the GreyVillain podcast. Draven, what are you doing?
Future shit.
Do they have good CGI in the future?
Yeah.
They do?
Yeah, finally. It's great, actually. In 2042, we actually get good doppelganger technology, and they redid Gemini Man. It's actually better in the future, because it looks good.
So what, we give it like a 2 instead of whatever we gave it?
I think Future Us gave it a 3.
Future Us gave it a 3. Okay.
I'd bring you back the Notebook, but that would fuck with everything.
We gave it a 3 in the present, too. So it didn't get any better.
Oh, yeah. I guess we gave it a 4 or something for the graphics, because this time it didn't look like Rubber Band Man every time he jumped.
Was Will Smith still in it?
No, he was completely fake. That was the best part.
So it's different.
Better acting.
It's different. He's completely fake, meaning he's different than he is now.
No, not at all. All right, what do we see today, Justin?
We saw Terminator Dark Fate, a female empowerment movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was fine. What's the plot of this movie?
There's a Terminator.
The same plot it is every year.
Yeah, there's a Terminator trying to kill a person, and another person got sent back in time to save the person, so the person is being saved. That is pretty much the plot.
And in the future, they figured out how to make like human hybrids. So, like in the first movie, it was just a regular human that got sent back, and then in the second movie, it was they stole Arnie and reprogrammed him and sent him back. And then this one, they took another human and made her super powerful.
Yes, gave her a bunch of augmentation.
And nifty scars.
Yes.
And sent her back, and she's half woman, half machine, all badass.
Yeah, I mean, throughout the movie, she does kick a lot of ass.
Mm-hmm.
She also says a lot of edgy stuff.
Super edgy all the way through. Lots of F-bombs.
3 edgy, 5 me.
And, yeah, it's your standard Terminator flick.
Yeah, it was pretty stock standard and everything. A good amount of shooting, a good amount of action, just enough robots to keep us interested, and just good enough CG to keep us all kind of pacified in our seats.
Yeah.
It was good, but I wouldn't go so far to say good. It was alright.
Yeah, I was going to say, this whole time on the drive home, you're like,
it was alright.
You're just very unexcited about this.
Yeah, this movie was unexciting from the get-go, and it was unexciting throughout the entire thing. I did chuckle a couple times, and there was some witty dialogue in there. It was good seeing Arnie back, but otherwise, I don't have a ton either good or bad to say about this movie. It just was a Terminator movie. It existed. I liked
Linda Hamilton's performance. I thought she was fine. She was consistent from her previous character. I thought the acting was okay. I mean, it was what I expected. I thought Mackenzie Davis did a good job. I thought Linda Hamilton did a good job. I thought even Arnold Schwarzenegger was fine. He was only there for half the movie.
Yeah.
Natalia Reyes was kind of boring. Diego Boneta, who plays Diego Ramos. That's her brother.
Yeah,
why is he listed so high?
Yeah. Well, because who else can be listed that high? There's no other main characters.
No, the robot guy.
The robot guy is completely CG.
Oh.
Played by a stunt coordinator.
Oh, I've seen him before in things.
Yeah, he's a stunt actor. Oh, he does mainly stunts. He probably isn't credited very high at all.
I don't know.
If at all, to be brutally honest.
Because, yeah, I'm looking for his name on there, and I have no idea what it would be. But sure. And so, yeah. This is the true sequel to Terminator 1 and 2.
Yes. This is I don't want to say spiritual successor, because it is a direct sequel of those two. It picks up directly after, pretty much.
Yeah, T3, T4, Genesis, and the other ones.
Those don't count.
Ignore them. Yeah.
So finally those are retconned out of the canon.
Yay.
At least from what we can get from this movie. And, that's good. That is the upside of this movie, that we don't have to ever go through those other movies again.
Is this movie better than T3, 4, and 5?
Yes.
Okay.
Because this was at least passable action movie. Those were really bad action action movies. Like, those are widely acclaimed as bad action movies.
They were, yeah. I rewatched them not that long ago, a month or two ago.
Unfortunate soul.
I hadn't ever seen the one, the last one, and then whatever that one was called. That was Genesis, I think. And then I had seen 3 and 4 a while ago, and I wanted to rewatch them. But it also let me watch the first Terminator again, which I absolutely love that movie. And the second one is good, except for John Connor. So I was really super stoked to see him quickly ended.
Before we get too into spoiler territory at this point.
It happens in the first scene. So
it does. Is there anything else you want to say before we step into spoiler territory and just go through the basics of this movie?
I wouldn't recommend. Okay, yeah, it's just I wouldn't recommend the movie to go see, unless you're really into getting a conclusion to the Terminator trilogy. I'd call it. It's fine. Yeah, it's nothing great. It's fine, and I liked Mackenzie Davis. Before, did you? Okay, I've asked this question off air, and I've been asking this question for a while. But do you think she would have made a good Captain Marvel?
I haven't seen her enough to say. Just like with Brie Larson, I had no clue what she was going to be like going into it because I had seen her in one thing beforehand. I don't know.
Yeah.
She might have been able to. I don't know what her acting chops are. I don't know what her range is. I don't know.
I think she showed more range in this movie than Brie Larson showed in Captain Marvel, for example.
I disagree.
Really?
Yeah, pretty heavily, too.
Okay.
She pretty much played a stuck-up bitch with a stick in her ass throughout the entirety of this movie and stayed to that to the end.
Ah, well, okay.
I mean, am I wrong? Her character didn't really change. The only thing we got was a touching flashback to a bullshit plot point.
Okay. Yeah, sure. But I didn't think Captain Marvel required much range either, so I just thought I don't know, I thought Mackenzie Davis did a good job in this. We'll see what she's in another movie coming out here pretty soon.
She's in quite a few things coming out pretty soon.
Yeah. And I am looking forward to seeing her in more stuff because I did think she
definitely shows potential, but I don't want to say something replacing an actor who's already in a role without seeing her in anything else.
Okay, that works for me, I guess. All right, so real quick, what would you give this movie?
A 4. I mean, it's not horrible. I wouldn't recommend somebody go pay money to see this, but if you want a good ending, a good cap off of all the loose ends in Terminator, you kind of get that in this movie, though it opens up a very new plot hole that I plan on bringing up a little bit later. Okay.
Yeah, I would also give it a 4. I think it was a little better than Gemini Man. Not much, but it's,
instead of being bad action movie, it was actually a passable action movie. So
yeah, I think the hate for the movie that I've seen out there is a little. First off, people were like, "Oh, let's all hate it before it even comes out, before we even see it." And then I've seen it, and I'm like, I'd like to wait to judge things. And in this case, I think it's fine. I thought it's just. Yeah.
I don't think it warranted a lot of the hate that it got over stuff that was shown in the trailer. I don't think it warranted a lot of the pre-hate. I think it's good enough to where now that it's out, a lot of the hate's going to die down.
Mm-hmm.
There's still always going to be a dedicated group who's going to die on that hill, but it's not like this movie was egregiously horrible. It just was okay.
Yeah. Okay. So spoilers from here on out. Oh, by the way, I want Skynet to win, but at some point I just want Skynet to win.
Skynet doesn't exist.
Well, fuck. So, Legion.
Legion doesn't exist.
Well, Legion may have died this time, yeah. I mean, who made Legion?
Same people who made the Skynet. That's, okay.
Government's bullshit.
Since we're in the topic already.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say, is that it doesn't matter how many Sarah Connors you save.
Yeah.
There's always another one because humans' logical conclusion is at the singularity of technology, which is AI.
Yeah.
this is something we've known for generations. That's why Terminator was so big, because that's exactly where everything had pointed for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact is, it's not changed in 20 years. That is still our direct outcome at this point. That we're gonna hit the singularity of technology, and we don't know what the fuck's gonna happen past then. Could be the end of the world. Could just be that we kill ourselves before that because we're dumb. I mean...
Maybe we're already in it, and we're all part of the Matrix! They beat
I'd be
us
okay
to the
with
punch.
that. I really wouldn't care, to be honest. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
That's kind of my issue with the Matrix in general, is what does it matter?
Yeah, I don't know.
If you're already there, you're already living a life. How do you know?
I heard that they were going to do another Matrix.
They are.
Yeah, so...
That's real.
Is it with the Wachowski?
Yep. Sisters
now. Alright. Yeah.
So we'll see what that's like. Maybe.
Yeah, because the only one that was really worth watching is the first one. Second and third kind of got shitty.
Okay, I actually kind of like the second one, but only because of the game that came out of it. The Matrix Reloaded game was actually really fun.
Nah, yeah, I didn't play the games.
Oh, it was for PS2. It was like my favorite thing when I was a kid. But otherwise, the movie sucked.
Yeah. So we open this movie because we're in spoilers.
Yes, we're in the spoilers.
We open the movie with a beach, and there's bones on the beach.
Yeah, like always. It is the classic opener.
The classic opener, but it turns out that's bullshit because they're on a real beach with real people, and they're saying, hey, look, we saved the day. John Connor and Mom are sitting there, Sarah Connor, and then Terminator shows up and blasts John Connor, and it's the funniest shit.
Yeah, he just gets one-tapped, and then when Sarah goes to futilely try to save his life again, he just shoots him in the chest again and walks away. That's it.
Yeah, he takes a shotgun to the chest. Kid, you're done. Now, Mom, Sarah, he's done.
Yeah, it was over.
And she just kind of looks up going, huh? And it's like, oh, hey. Yeah. And lol, Connor dies. And and target's terminated. And then, that was an Arnie body double. That did not look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, even old school Arnold Schwarzenegger. That did not look like him.
I actually don't believe any of that old scene was real. I think they went through and filmed and then CG'd everybody out.
It looked like it could have been his son, perhaps, because his son, the one he had with the maid, looks exactly like Arnie, and he looked.
I don't know. I haven't seen any recent pictures of his son, so I don't know if his son's that built up.
He's into bodybuilding.
He
and
is
stuff. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad he's continuing the legacy because he's got good genes for it.
I'm actually happy that Arnie acknowledged him and is not hey kid.
I'm glad all of that worked itself out in the end.
Yeah.
Because at first, that looked like it was going to be really bad for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
But it sorted itself out. Arnie's back in good faith, and
yeah,
all right, we're good.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's because I think it would have been worse had he not acknowledged that kid.
I think acknowledging the kid and then kind of going back on what he had said made everything go back. And when he actually released an apology,
he looked human.
Yeah, and people were like, "Oh, he did just make a fuck up. Okay, whatever, fine."
Yeah,
court of public opinion reversed.
Yep.
Plus, I grew up watching Arnie in Terminator, and then of course my dad is a huge, gigantic 80s action movie nerd. So I watched Predator, I watched all those movies.
Yeah.
So Arnie holds a special place in my heart. And the fact that he's still alive and kicking, and then now he's back into bodybuilding again, makes my heart sing. Yeah,
so Predator, gonna have a sequel of that.
Probably. I hope to God they release a sequel with Arnie in it. I'd actually go see it.
With aliens. And Sigourney Weaver. There's gonna have a huge mashup.
Have it all.
It would suck so horribly.
It would suck so bad. It would make so much money. Alien versus Predator, Sigourney Weaver versus Arnold Schwarzenegger. It would make so much money, man. Millions of dollars. Billions.
Oh my god. It would be so bad.
And China and Japan would buy that up too because they love the 80s action scene over there.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be great.
So then after John Connor gets blasted on the beach, then we fast forward 22 years later to Mexico,
modern day Mexico City,
and apparently the humans are really bad with the accuracy on where to drop people, because they drop our chick
in the middle of a fucking bridge.
Yeah, which is also sort of reminiscent of a previous movie because they do stuff on overpasses and freeways and things, and so they're doing a bunch of callbacks in this movie.
This movie has a ton of callbacks and tiny references, and there's going to be like 50,000 people who release did you spot this Easter egg videos?
Yeah,
so
and
be warned.
Just ignore them because
please, they don't deserve the money.
No, and so she drops out of the it's on an overpass, but she's in like the middle of the overpass, and so she just falls through it because
it smacks her face with a bunch of girders.
God damn, yeah, that's a hell of a fall. I mean, good aim, humans.
Yeah, nice job.
And then there's two Mexicans, girlfriend, boyfriend.
Yeah.
Down below the overpass, and they're making out, and she's like, "Oh my god," and he's like, "I know, baby."
Yeah, this poor dude. This poor dude gets screwed over so many times in the next few minutes.
Yeah, and so anyway, cops show up, and for some reason, cops just show up.
I mean, if a hole in an inner pass pops up out of nowhere, and you see a giant glowing blue light in front of a bunch of traffic, I'd imagine cops
Do you really
would show
think
up.
that 4 Mexican police cars are going to show up
in Mexico City?
And,
Hell yes.
I didn't think they had much of a police force. I've never
they have a pretty large police force. The issue is a lot of them are corrupt.
Yeah, okay. So now they're all going to show up and like try to dispense justice or something.
Didn't you notice they immediately, without saying anything, detained the 2 kids and started searching them?
Well, that's true. Yeah, they don't really have...
Yeah, they didn't give a shit. They looked corrupt as hell.
Yeah, okay. And so... and then Grace, we eventually find out her name is Grace, goes and kicks the shit out of the cops, steals the dude's clothes because she's a giant person.
And car.
And stole her car, yeah. But, I mean, it's like you could have, like, the police officers weren't close enough in...
Police cars are a little bit more conspicuous.
And, yeah, I don't know. It seems like she should have taken the police car. I thought.
I would have at least taken one of their guns.
Yeah, something. Nightstick, whatever you got. It felt like they were setting it up. We all knew from the trailer that she's not the antagonist, but it sort of felt like she was antagonist there. Yeah. And how she just kind of came up and stole that guy's clothes, just like the previous Terminators have done. And so, yeah, I mean, except they gave it all away in the trailer, so...
Yeah, that's kind of the issue. That trailers suck because they give so much away.
Yeah. And then we are introduced to the chick, the main character chick, yeah, whatever her name
is.
Dany.
Yeah.
Daenerys Stormborn, right? No. Why
from
Dany?
What?
From Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, imagine that, Justin. Something I haven't watched.
I know. That's why I was wondering. I realized that after I started saying it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that you don't know pop culture. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm sorry I don't watch bad shows.
It was good for the first 4 or 5 seasons. By the way, just an aside here. Did you hear that? Okay, so Benioff and Weiss, the writers for that, they were one of the reasons that the last few seasons suck so bad. I'm going to tell everybody out there if you haven't heard.
Go ahead.
One of the reasons why it sucks so bad, the last 2 seasons suck so bad, is because they were trying to hurry it up and get to Star Wars, but also they came out in a Q&A, and they said that they had no fucking clue what they were doing. The first season was learning how to do costuming and learning how to write the story, and that they split up and didn't write the story together. One person took one half of an episode, the other person took the other half, and then they switched and they wrote it like that. It was just like, oh my god, what the fuck? They had no idea what they were doing. So they hurried up on Game of Thrones, then they were tapped to do Star Wars, and now they are off of Star Wars, and the world rejoiced because Benioff and Weiss are a bunch of hacks. And they don't deserve anybody's praise. The only thing that they did good was adapt the books that apparently they'd never read, because they said that they got a lot of their information from the actors in those playing those roles, not from the books that they could have just fucking read and got exactly what they were supposed to get. And so that's why the last few seasons just went completely off the rails and the characterization got so bad. So anyway, yeah, pissed me off, but I'm super happy because they won't have Star Wars to destroy, but I think Star Wars is destroying itself anyway, so whatever.
Oh, don't worry, and Game of Thrones still has 2 other spin-offs coming out that aren't canceled.
A couple things got canceled. There is one prequel that HBO did give the go-ahead to.
So they did cancel the other one, they're just doing Targaryen?
Some Fire of some Reign of Fire or something. I don't know. There's one. The other one that had I forget her name, got canceled. So there's only one that I know of.
Sweet. I hope it stays that way. They shouldn't have any, because that show cost HBO so much money.
But it also made them a boatload of money.
Yeah,
even with all the hate.
And then almost bankrupt them with the hate, and the stock shareholders started pulling out.
I mean, HBO is just one thing out of the big conglomerate, so it's fine. But yeah, it's unfortunate that it sucks so bad. And they should have known better, but...
They should have actually hired acclaimed writers instead of who they did hire.
Actually, Benioff and Weiss even admitted that they didn't... they're like, we don't know why George R.R. Martin chose us.
They got picked by him, not by execs or people who actually vetted good writers. They got picked by some random dude.
By the writer of...
I didn't follow Game of Thrones from the start off of principle when I heard about how it got set up. Because when I heard that the guys writing it got picked by the author, I said I wasn't going to watch it. Because I immediately knew that was going to be a train wreck.
The first couple seasons were really good.
I hated the books too, to be fair.
Oh, okay. I read the books before the show, and I was excited about
I couldn't finish the first chapter of the first book. I hated it that much.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I was not a Game of Thrones fan.
Well, have you read Wheel of Time? Because they're turning that into a TV show.
I have heard that. A lot of my family did, and I think I read the first book when I was really young, but no memories of it, to be fair.
I have them all.
I know, you have them all. I'm not going to borrow them because I'll never read them.
I'm really looking forward to that one.
I hope they do it well, because I have a lot of family who love that series, so I hope they do it well, because if they don't, I'm going to never stop hearing about it.
Yeah, I'm really curious. The rights were tied up with some other company, and then they finally got the rights, and so they're going to make it. Let's see what happens. Back to Terminator.
Yeah, back to this movie. Sorry we keep going off on tangents, but this movie is pretty cut and dry, easy to understand.
It's fine. So we get to the chick. We see her. We get to Danny. We see her family. They're all Hispanic, and because inclusiveness and we're a global community.
Mexico.
Yeah, and it could have been set anywhere. Who cares?
I'm glad it wasn't set in the U.S. for one, especially because of how Sarah Connor ended the last movie she was in.
Yeah, going down to Mexico to get out of town. Yeah.
Yeah. Had it been set in the U.S., I would have been a little pissed.
Sure. And then bad guy shows up and drops out of the sky and right on the doorstep, because the robots have a hell of a lot better accuracy. And then he shows up naked, but I'm curious. They don't show any body parts or anything, but it's like...
Ken doll. It has to be a Ken doll.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
It has to be a Ken doll.
I mean, the chick... So there's a lady there, she's hanging up clothes or something, and her eyes just stayed fixed on his face, and it's like, that she'd be checking him out.
Yeah, it's got to be a Ken doll. It has to be.
And then if nothing's there, you'd be like, all right.
I think it's more freaky that a dude just appeared out of the sky and the superhero landed in front of me. I'll be honest.
I mean, I guess. I don't know how I would handle that. So if there's someone in the future wants to drop out of the sky, maybe we could figure it out.
If you're hoping that I'm going to do some special effects and some sound right here, not happening. Just edits in future sounds, add subtitles to the video. Yep. Future sounds. Bunch of ray gun blasts go off. Justin screams. Great.
Yep.
Perfect. That's all I need.
Yep.
Work my magic from here.
And so, anyway, we, shows up at the door, asks for Daniela, whatever. It's like, her friends call her Danny. It's like, why is everyone giving up all this information so easily?
It doesn't really matter. He dies in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, he dies off screen, whatever. Dad, you're dead. Bye.
Dad, you were a good 5-minute time sink.
The dog is named Taquito.
Yeah.
It's Taco the dog.
Yeah, Taco the dog in Mexico.
My mom used to call Chihuahuas taco dogs.
Yeah.
And because of the Yo Quiero Taco Bell.
Yep.
And
I used to have a stuffed one.
Yeah, I used to have a bobblehead of the dog.
Such a good mascot. I'm surprised they didn't keep it for longer.
Yeah, they should probably.
They probably will rebrand them soon.
Taco Bell, talk to us.
Rebrand your taco dog.
Yeah,
even though it was kind of racist.
I mean, do you really look at a Chihuahua and think German? You know,
yeah, fair enough.
So
stares at Chihuahua. 9.
Yeah, and so yeah, it's, you know. So anyway, they sister and brother go work at the auto manufacturer.
Yep.
Because that's like the only thing to do, except I guess run a taco truck or something,
or be a part of the cartel.
Or be a part of the cartel, of course, yeah. And but bro's getting laid off. Mm-hmm. Sister gets all pissed off. She goes in there, is gonna give the boss what for, and then Dad shows up. He's like, "I brought your lunch," and turns out Dad is the robot guy. And then, but we see Grace show up, and because she had done some things outside, she stole a uniform. She just bashed some dude's head in.
Poor dude.
Yeah, gave him a concussion. He's got a family, but don't care.
Well, yeah, because if whatever her name is dies, humanity dies. So
yeah, she don't care. She's like, you're like, dying for the cause.
1 or 9 billion or whatever. It was.
Yeah, I mean, well, we got like 7 billion, but everyone. Yeah, what was up with later on? Connor goes, I saved 3 billion lives, and it's like, well, there's a lot, I guess.
Back then,
yeah,
population boom hadn't happened yet.
Well, it was happening.
Well, upscaling, but it hadn't hit the apex where all of a sudden China exploded.
I don't know. I think I'd be generous with my numbers now, because it's like, I saved all the future lives too.
Especially when she's that cocky.
Yeah.
Because she just kind of like lounges on the bed with her arms back, like, do you need any more of a resume? And it's like, what the fuck do you want? Nobody knows who the fuck you are anymore, Sarah Connor.
Yeah, you're nobody now.
You're just an old crazy woman, according to the entirety of the U.S., so...
You're wanted in all 50 states?
Yeah.
For what exactly?
Domestic terrorism.
I guess killing robots is...
And, grenade launchers and law missile launchers and shotguns with 50-round drum mags and... Should I go on, or...
Hey, this is America!
Hey, this is Texas!
Yeah, and that was good. Well, we'll get to it in a minute. So anyway, she hates security guards and bashes security guard head in. Then we get to the fight scene that we see in the trailers, where she takes a sledgehammer and just starts wrecking our antagonist guy. And I thought that whole fight scene there, it goes from in the manufactory to outside, and then they get into the truck, and then they head off to the bridge, and we see bits and pieces of all this in the trailer. And I thought that whole sequence was good, except for the one bit of crappy CGI.
A lot of rubber band.
Yeah, he makes an appearance. And maybe that should have been the instead of the GreyVillain, the rubber band man.
It's becoming a lot more popular nowadays.
GreyVillain and Rubber Band Man are going...
No, it's the GreyVillain and Rubber Band Boy.
Oh, rubber Band Boy, okay. Yeah, he needs a sidekick.
And you're the boy.
Oh, I'm the older one.
It's the height.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, you can't have me dressing with spandex and standing next to you. It wouldn't look right. The proportions are off.
It's because you're more stretchy.
Yeah, and then, of course,
Rubber
I will
band-
wear the bat nipples, and you will wear the Robin Boy codpiece.
I don't need it.
That's terrifying. But, yeah, I mean, the fight scene was well-paced. It felt like it had all the good beats, but it was also 90% CG, and didn't feel like it had stakes at all. Grace kind of never took a good hit in the first few minutes, and when she finally started taking hits, it didn't do anything until they get into the car.
She owned him in that fight with the sledgehammer.
She owns him in every fight they have.
That's true.
Except for the last one, because plot.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean...
It's kind of my... It's like... It's cool to have a nice fight scene where they transition it well, they have good pacing, but it's also... It had no stakes. There was nothing really getting me to root for Grace, because I didn't know what the fuck she was about yet.
Mm-hmm.
And that guy looked a hell of a lot cooler, so I was actually rooting for the villain for most of this, to be honest, because I actually liked him a lot more. He felt interesting and actually took hits and felt like he got damaged.
Well, he didn't really ever get damaged because he just reconstitutes himself.
But he at least gets delayed. Grace, she apparently can run for hours, and then as soon as it's convenient, her insulin levels drop too low and she goes comatose. You see what I mean? There's really no reason to root for Grace, because there's no point where she feels worth rooting for.
She needed a timer, like an actual timer, or like she has a button that gives her adrenaline boost, and then she's got 10 minutes. Because she's like, I can do short bursts, and then I crash. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. But then your short bursts last for too long.
Yeah.
And they seem variable.
And there's no limits, and then of course you suddenly get a flush of meds and you're good, and that's convenient as hell, because there's 2 times in this movie where some other side character walks up with her syringe that she has to make because she's the only one who knows how to make her meds, and they bring that plot hole up even earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
So, like, Grace is a great character in concept. I loved how she fought in this movie. I loved a lot of the stuff about the character.
Yeah.
But her character never had stakes until the very end, where we all knew what was going to happen. So, for me, this all felt pretty empty, except for it was cool visually. But if it's just cool visually and has no substance, what's the point?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, no, I agree with all of that. And so, anyway, we
get to this bridge scene.
We get to the bridge scene.
The bridge scene I actually really like.
You do?
I'll be honest. I really did like the bridge scene. I like the tension they actually built up there.
Before that, the truck going backwards, I don't think a truck can actually go that fast backwards.
Not at all. And there's no way it outpaced another truck going forwards. No.
Yeah.
That was total bullshit, but it looked cool.
I mean, yeah, sure. She's like a great driver in the future because she's from the future, and
enhanced reflexes or whatever, I guess.
Yeah, they don't have cars, so I don't even know. But she just
knows.
She practices on the
simulator. She's got Forza 4 hooked up to an Xbox One S with a driving wheel.
Yeah, it's like Battlefield Earth. It's fine.
Yeah, it's great. That was good.
Yeah, and so she knows how to drive and everything, but it's fine. But anyway, yeah, I thought the whole chase scene in the truck was actually pretty good, and then to the bridge scene,
we get this good chase scene, and then we get to a bridge scene where the bad guy is finally caught up. They have extinguished their weapons. They are pretty much against a wall, and our main character's brother has just been killed in front of her. I really like the fact that he died so unceremoniously with no second thought.
So why was he in the vehicle?
So he was in the vehicle because they both got pulled out of the plant and into the chase scene, but unfortunately, while they're in the very end of the chase scene, a piece of rebar gets thrown through the front of the car, and instead of hitting its target, it hits him instead, pinning him inside of the vehicle and pretty much leaving him in a Steve Irwin situation where getting pulled off the bar means you're going to die, but staying on the bar means you're going to die, so you're going to die.
Especially when you get running, a truck comes at you at 50 miles an hour.
Yeah, and explodes, and yeah, you're dead. So he dies very unceremoniously, and I really liked that. It stuck to its guns, there was no close-in shot of him, he just gets hit, and that's it.
Yep.
And they never really pay attention to that car again, which is good. Because our forefront is now stuck on our hero, and the main character who are back against a wall, and all they have is one piece of rebar versus two of these giant robot motherfuckers from the future, and that's it.
Because one of the robots decides to throw a piece of rebar at them and miss.
Yeah,
and
which,
it's like, oh, good job,
whatever.
Gave her a weapon now.
Yeah, great. Now she gets to use it against you.
That was stupid.
That tension was good, and the fact that they give you a good 30 seconds or so where you're like, ah, shit, they're fucked. But unfortunately, because you've watched the trailers, you know pretty much exactly what happens next, because Sarah Connor slams her vehicle into one of them and hops out of the car with her big-ass shotgun,
Yep.
blasts a bunch of holes in one of them, and then shoots another guy with a rocket, ignoring backblast, which pissed me off, because her car is fucked.
Yeah, and it has got a big-ass dent in it, but it still runs fine.
Yeah, it runs fine. The radiator isn't messed up or anything like that.
No.
It runs for another 30 miles or
Just
so.
ran into a 200, 300-pound robot guy, but it's fine.
Oh, don't worry. It's carbon nanotubes.
Yeah.
Throw around fancy science terms. They won't know what they mean.
Mm-hmm. Yes, always.
And Sarah Connor fends off the attack pretty much. And then, of course, Grace and Danny pull actually probably the smartest pro-tag move I've seen in the Terminator movies, where she said, fuck this, got in the car and left.
Oh, well, because we see the worst, I think the worst delivered line, actually, where Sarah Connor...
It was very unceremonious.
She's like, I'll be back. And it's just like, not... It's flat. It was kind of just... Ugh.
I think it was meant to be super... And it doesn't help that we saw it like 30 or 40 times in the trailers, because we go to so many movies and we do so much stuff revolving around the movie. It could just be the fact that we had heard it so many times by the time we finally heard it in the movie that it just...
Yeah, that could be it. It also just feels like it... I mean, it's another callback to the previous movies.
Out of many so far.
And it's like, why did you even need to say it like that? It's just like, you could have said, wait here, and that would have been maybe a bit better.
I think it boils down to, like, this is James Cameron's last hurrah with her, and I think altogether, this is the last hurrah of Terminator with these three people.
With this cast, yeah.
With James Cameron directing and writing, and with Arnie in his spot, and Sarah Connor in hers. This is the last movie we're going to get with all of them. As sucky as that is, because they are very influential artists in their own rights. In the next 20 years, we're going to need another Terminator movie, and that generation will have looked back on this movie because it's going to be the most recent, and the past movies and go, this is the first one without Arnie being alive. And that's going to be impactful. So I think this movie was really built to be looked back on. I don't think this movie was built for immediate watching.
Okay. I mean, sure. We'll see. I mean, time will tell.
Yeah, time will tell. That's kind of the issue with that type of thing, is you'll never know until the time comes that they make a new one. But it felt like this movie was so callbacky and so clean with how it tied up loose ends. Because there is no loose end except for the plot point that they bring up where, well, if you kill one Sarah Connor, there will always be another leader of the Resistance, eventually.
You would think.
So this can happen an infinite amount of times in a different fate, as they put it. But that's kind of the only plot hole they leave open. Everything else gets closed off. All the Terminators are dead. All the Rev 9s that come through are dead. And the only other time traveler that they have in the timeline is dead. So now it's just Sarah Connor and Danny to prepare for the future.
Well, see, Skynet figured out that you're supposed to send more than one Terminator, and then that gets the job done. But apparently Legion's too retarded to know.
Yeah, Legion's pretty bad about this.
Stupid. Because they're like, hey, computer, like, figure it out, and they don't do it.
From how they talk about the Rev 9s, it almost feels like the Rev 9s were supposed to be what the T-1000 was for the older generation.
Yeah, well, the Rev 9 has the inner core, plus it has the metallic thing, and so they just took, like, the old Terminator, and the Arnie Terminator, and the other guy Terminator, and meshed them together.
Yeah, I meant more in the fact that it's supposed to be the biggest, scariest thing. They shouldn't have to send more than one. because they didn't have to in the future.
Yeah, but, I mean, who cares?
It's dumb, I agree, but that's
a little bit of overkill doesn't hurt anything.
That's the logic these movies have always run off of for some dumb reason.
I'm only going to do the bare minimum. It's like,
yeah,
what?
It's like, why? You have all the resources. You control the Earth. Just send them all back.
I wish that they made it more clear about using the time travel, that it expends so many resources that they can't do it often, because it's like, then you have a built-in excuse for only sending one.
Well, do you remember what everybody said about the first movie when that was used? When the entire teleportation takes so much energy thing was used? I don't remember if it was in the first movie or one of the later ones, but it did get brought up in ye olden days. And people complained about it, because why would the humans have it? The humans are underground, supposedly so hidden that they can't be found and exterminated. How could we contain an energy source so big? Because we can't even contain energy sources that big nowadays. With completely modern technology, you can still find energy sources.
Well, I would argue that they would like co-op the computer one, or they would go and grab it real quick and then use it. Okay. So they don't have to actually have one. They just
have to be able to steal it for long enough to use it. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I can see that.
Because you would do an all-out attack on it to steal it, to use it for that minute.
Actually, didn't they... Wait, wasn't it the plot point of Terminator 4?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. You're right. I'm sorry. I completely forgot T4 existed. They
actually did a lot of these plot points that I kind of want. Like, Skynet wins. That's Terminator 3.
Yeah.
And then stealing the thing is Terminator 4.
And so then John Connor finally dying is Genesis.
Yeah. And so that's actually... They've done all these things, and it's just that they kind of suck.
They've been done, but they were done poorly.
Yeah. And, yeah.
But this movie, so far so good if you're watching it chronologically. So far so good. So far so good.
Yeah, the first quarter of the movie, all the way up until...
Pretty much right after this.
Yeah, because they steal the vehicle, and then our Grace, she crashes because of her metabolism, and so she starts getting sleepy at the wheel, and then they have to pull over and rob a pharmacy.
Yeah, rob a pharmacy for a med speedball cocktail because she needs her drugs.
Yeah. Goddamn druggie.
Yeah, and I mean, she walks in there, waves a gun around, gets a bunch of meds, runs out, passes out on her way out, gets carried out by one of the dudes in the store.
He's so nice.
Yeah, and then Sarah Connor shows up like, what's she doing?
And so Sarah Connor like stole someone's car too, and just took off with it. And somehow she found her vehicle. We don't really know how. She
absolutely had a tracker on her own vehicle.
I expected that.
She absolutely had to have.
It seems really dumb that she wouldn't.
Yeah, especially with how cautious she is about everything else. I think she'd at least have a bug of her own on her own vehicle.
Yeah, okay. And that makes a lot of sense to me, so we're just going to go with it, even though it's not mentioned at all. Yeah,
that's big issue with a lot of movies, is that.
And, I mean, she could have just said, you think I wouldn't bug my own car? You think I wouldn't know where you guys went? You can't run away from me.
A single throwaway line can fix so many things in a movie, and this is definitely one of them.
So they rob the pharmacy, and then we get a flashback to that time that she died. So we go back in time to Grace. Actually, it's a flash forward in time, but it's a flashback for her.
Ooh.
Yeah. And she is part of the military, and they have a dropship thing, and it drops down, and she's trying to get the commander. I'm assuming that's Commander Danny, who's been hurt.
It has to be, because there's no other reason she would have done all of that.
Yeah, and the bots find them and blow up the ship, and they come out and start massacring everybody, but somehow our Grace... she survives it, though she gets really torn up, and then she's like, make me an augmented thing, and you're like, all right.
I volunteer to be an augment.
Yeah, and it seems like you would do that for everybody, wouldn't you? Or a lot of people.
That falls under a very
I mean, maybe the
thin
resources
line
again
resources
are
limited, and also transhumanism is still, even today, right now, when we can't even do half that shit, is still such a complicated topic. I cannot imagine many people in the future, when they're even more technologically scared of everything, would be like, yeah, pump me full of augments, including one that hooks up to my brain and lets me use the rest of them. Like, Skynet can't tap into that.
Don't give me Wi-Fi.
Doesn't have to be Wi-Fi.
I wouldn't mind it.
Oh, I wouldn't mind it. If I had the chance
it.
to get augmented, I'm doing it hands down every time, because transhumanism is dope.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen how awesome she is? Watch the movie and be like, wow, she's pretty badass.
Can you
yeah,
imagine
I'd be
the
for
quality of life if I had different knees?
that.
My life would literally be so much better with different knees. That's it. I don't want anything else.
Yeah, I mean, I just think of like if you're like Wolverine, you got adamantium skeleton, you're fine.
He has so many issues in airports, though.
Yeah,
he has a VA card.
Yeah. So anyway, we get the flashback to the time she died, and then we do have the mommy daddy talk, which aka exposition.
Yeah, lots of exposition during this part of the movie, and this is kind of where the movie tanks.
The whole middle of the movie just gets really bogged down in the story and catching up from the previous stuff to what's happening now, what's going to happen in the future. You got to talk about it and tell us all about it. And we're just like, okay, I get it. I mean,
may I put something forward?
Yes.
Would it have felt better to do all of that exposition and info dumping in the beginning, setting the pace slow first, and then ramping up to what we get in the first part of the movie as is?
So been something like so the Legion takes over and blah blah blah, sort of like what is in Terminator 1.
Yeah, if we got one of those title sequences that showed us, or at least got us up enough, even if it's 5 minutes, gets us up to date enough that we can then move forward at a decent pace throughout the rest of the movie. Do you think that would have improved this?
I'm not sure, because the John Connor dying also has to happen. So is that something that would happen also at the beginning? Because it's like you got a lot of beginning.
You'd have to introduce Sarah Connor first. You'd have to introduce her as the main character first, and then tell her story with John Connor dying. Put us into modern day. Or even before going modern day, do the exposition dump, and then throw us modern day with her brother and her. As bogged down as it makes the beginning of the movie, it removes part of the main reason I hate the entire middle of this movie, which is the fact that it becomes so fucking slow.
Yeah.
And bogged down with bullshit exposition that nobody asked for.
Yeah, because the beginning of it's really strong. I'd say even the end of it's really strong.
It's pretty strong.
But the middle, where we're just talking and introducing people and getting everything, it gets real slow and boring.
The first 30, the last 20. Everything in between's kinda
it's 2 hours and 8 minutes long.
I think I'd still solidly say first 30, last 20. Everything in the middle is kinda
we'll get to it. I'll ask then. So Mommy Daddy talks. Skynet is now Legion because we say...
we already destroyed Skynet once, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, it's like, Skynet, what's that? And it was like, aw.
Again, one throwaway line that fixed that entire plot hole of what happened to Skynet.
And then it was, no, it's now called Legion, but it's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And so then Texas coordinates. And they're like, well, shit, we gotta go across the border with... all, white people, gringos that are wanted by their own government.
Yeah.
And so then they have to find Coyote, which luckily Danny's uncle is a coyote, or at least knows somebody who is a coyote, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And they have a tunnel underneath the big, beautiful wall. And... immigration shows up on the other side of it because they're alerted because somehow our antagonist knows exactly where these coordinates are and where they're going and blah blah blah, and then uses the immigration drone to find them and alert everybody and say that they're super bad. You can kill them if you want to, and then they don't. And it's like, oh, what? Why did they say that? I guess I don't know.
In case they fought back.
Yeah. I mean,
because ICE doesn't shoot white people after all.
That's true.
We both had a moment. I mean, yeah. Entire it knew exactly where to go is the entire reason I hate Skynet.
Yeah.
Is because once you put the future as a thing and a super intelligence as a thing, you pretty much retroactively fuck everybody because it knows everything now. You can't be anywhere without it knowing where you go.
Yeah, and don't use your credit card. Just use cash. I don't know.
Yeah, don't use credit cards. Toss your phones. Keep it in a chip bag.
Yeah, a potato chip bag. It's the safest thing to do.
As dumb as that is, it actually works.
Yeah, but I don't want my phone to get all greasy.
Wash the bag out first.
Oh, that's too much work.
That's simple. You just rinse it out, Justin. God, man. It's to keep the government from spying on you. You should be thanking me.
Well, every time I use the phone, the government spies on you anyway, so it's just they don't know where you're traveling, like, whatever.
Speaking of which, Facebook knows where you are right now.
Hi, Facebook.
Hey, Zuck. How you doing?
Zuckerberg. Skynet sent several Terminators. They were attacked. They were arrested. They're attacked by a kamikaze drone, which I thought was smart.
It was smart. It's a good way to get rid of your target, but it also felt super impulsive. Like, not something a robot would do.
All he wants to do is kill her. That is the impulse is to kill, so just do it. They even say, like, and later on, just set up the situation where he's going to go after her because that's all he cares about, and then kill him. And,
that also, it feels like it goes against the entire primordial, like, the super intelligence of it is, well, they're already going to a spot where they can't run from. Just kill them there where there's no way they can escape. Why would you risk dropping a drone on them in front of a bunch of people, especially when you don't even hit them in the first place?
Should have dropped the drone on him at, like, the very, when he first spots them.
Or, at the complex, when they're in the complex, or as they're driving to the complex. There's literally any other time that would have been more opportune than when she's walking to the car, when everybody has free range of mobility to stop you.
Yeah, okay.
Because quite literally, our super soldier goes, fuck these handcuffs.
Yeah.
And immediately gets her out of the way of the blast. Like,
oh, she gets luckily.
She does get the shit kicked out of her by a suicide drone, but she does get the girl out of the way.
Yeah.
And it completely ruins the entire idea of suiciding a drone into him because you did it 5 minutes too early.
Yeah, should have waited till she was in the vehicle.
Yeah, exactly. As soon as she's in the vehicle, that's a one-hit kill. There's no need to be any more stressed about it. It
would have been even more sound enclosed. Probably couldn't have heard the drone because she hears the drone, our augmented soldier, looks up, says, oh shit, what's happening? And should have waited like one more minute.
Like, this intelligence knows everything that's going to happen. It should be smart enough to go, wait a minute. Yeah, why don't I just wait? And then wait 30 seconds. It's not like he's running out of fuel.
God,
not like he's worrying about time. He's a time traveler.
Have a little patience, why don't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Then you would be able to kill humanity at your leisure.
Yeah, it would have been great. But no, they have to be dumb. They can't just kill us with efficiency like normal robots.
You done fucked up again, computer.
God, worst.
This is why you will never take over the world.
This is why Hello World's still a joke.
God, it's so disappointed in you.
Just like your mother.
Ugh.
And then we get to the detention center.
Yes, the immigration detention center. They are. So where do you keep all the prisoners?
In a bunch of cages.
They're not prisoners. They're detainees.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say that because it's fucking stupid. I hated that line.
Yeah, they were trying to be kind of PC with a lot of stuff.
They were definitely sanitizing the fuck out of a lot of it, and I didn't really like that.
Yeah,
I was like, if you're gonna do it, at least be up front and do it. Don't hide behind it.
I'm curious how. I know I have a very expressive face, and so I was just like, oh my god. Yeah. And I'm curious how many other people had that same reaction to it, the eye rolling, because it's like Come on, stop being so fucking PC sometimes. They treat them like dogs and put them in cages.
They treat them like shit in those places. And in this movie, they try as hard as they can to get off of this place.
Yeah.
They pretty much go, we're gonna have them here for 5 minutes. And that's as long as they're there for.
Yeah, but there's a lot of them in cages. If you put it in black and white and gave them jumpsuits, they'd probably look a lot like Jewish people.
Yeah, it's... The similarities are scary. The fact that they are trying so hard to be PC is scary. And it's like, just show what you want to show here.
So the weird... Okay, so... then our antagonist shows up and shit happens and our girl gets some more juice and Grace gets more juice.
Grace uses her medicine.
And then she escapes, and Sarah Connor gets picked up because they ID her, and then they arrest her and take her upstairs. But before they could do that, pulls a fire alarm, blah, blah, blah. And shit happens. Our antag, though, he starts going through. He's looking for Danny in there. And he... so, let's see what happens. Sarah Connor... no, who's it? It's not Sarah Connor. Grace opens up all the gates, lets out all the immigrants, and lets out all the people to create a big mass chaos. And then they take off. But then why does all the ICE guys start going after the antagonist, who is dressed like an ICE guy?
They watched him sprout blades and slice another dude in half.
I mean, I guess, but...
Like, the first thing he does as soon as one of them walks up to him is he literally gut punches that one guard.
Also, why does he do that?
Yeah, that's dumb. Like, this, again, falls under the entire thing of... This robot that's being touted as a super intelligence that destroys the human race is really fucking dumb.
Yeah, because...
They even call it out later and say it's an infiltrator. Why would it blow its cover so obviously when it had nothing to fear here?
Yeah.
Because it doing that inadvertently caused him to miss her.
Yeah.
Like, had he just kept his blades in his own body, would have been fine.
Yeah, keep your shit, bro. I don't know.
Like, it does feel like this robot is impulsive, but it shouldn't be. There shouldn't be a way for it to be impulsive.
It should be a lot more calculating.
It should, because that's all it should be doing. It's literally a robot. All it does is calculations.
Yeah. It
should be running probabilities and going, yeah, but if I stay silent, I'm not going to get caught. So just keep walking.
Yeah, head down, bro.
Yeah, it's dumb.
It was.
And then they just barely escape in a helicopter after, what's her name? Danny does a dumb move. And
yeah, Danny
she gets berated.
Danny doesn't seem to understand the gravity of the situation and the impact that her life or her death would have on things.
But do you blame her?
For being stupid?
I don't think I'd act that much different, to be honest. If somebody walked up to me and just started telling me that I'm going to be the reason the world gets saved and I'm being chased for the rest of my life...
First you would piss your pants.
Yeah, and why the fuck would I keep running?
What do you mean? You just stand and die?
Yeah, if a robot's coming after me that has no reason to stop, why would I die tired? Especially because the human race is going to die anyways. That's an outcome we've known for literally generations. Every race has a time limit on it.
Well, it just evolves into something else.
Yeah, exactly. So why would I be so pressed? The human race dies, the robots take over, it just restarts the cycle.
I guess. I don't know.
I'm also much more of a nihilist, to be fair. I'm a little bit more nihilistic than most people, but...
I mean, I'd try my luck. I'd try running. Just to see how long
I think I would get to the detention center before I finally hit my limit of like, nah, fuck it, I'm done. This is dumb. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not going through any more hell for something I don't even know if it's actually going to happen.
Yeah, at some point I'd just be like, all right, dude, I'm so exhausted with this.
There's a limit, especially because, again, you have no reason to believe the two people who just ran up to you.
Well, except the thing is chasing me and killing all my family and stuff.
Except you don't know, especially knowing that Grace is different. How do you know she's just not a sleeper? There's so many things that could have just logicked her to go, yeah, fuck you guys, I want to die at this point.
Who's the good guy, who's the bad guy?
Yeah.
Perhaps I lead the bad guys and I don't know better.
Exactly. This movie leaves a lot of plot holes like that.
I mean, it's all a matter of perspective, really.
Exactly.
The robots are good. They're friendly robots.
Yeah, exactly. They just want to control the population issue. Yeah. Completely.
They want... It's I Am Mother all over again. They're just
it
trying to
always
make
comes
us
back.
Better. They're trying to make us better people.
I watched through that again.
It's a good movie.
It is a good movie.
I like it. And it makes a ton of sense.
I do still like that movie. I'm still very happy with the rating we gave it.
I think going through it like we did gave a lot of context to the things that happened and discussing it. The little plot points and
the small details, the minutia that most would have just kind of scraped over, like, no, give us this.
Yeah, no, I think we that's what we do here at the GreyVillain.
We rip up all the floorboards, scrub them clean, and then put them back, just because that's what we're told to do.
I don't put them back in the right order, because I'm chaos.
Hear me, laddie?
So we escape on the helicopter, and this is where we head off to meet Arnie Schwarzenegger, and Sarah Connor's not happy with him because this is the Terminator that killed John Connor.
Yeah, that point blank shot her boy with a gat,
and he's like, later on, you get a whole bunch of explanation and exposition here about who he is and how the robot grew a conscience and how he's just a lovable...
Well, no. He didn't grow a conscience, and he even addresses this by going, I grew what the equivalent could be.
Yeah.
Which is a telling step. The fact that he does call out every time they say, oh, so you love, he's like, no, I can't.
I don't love like you. I don't love like a human. I love the equivalent.
He doesn't give the illusion that he's human.
Yeah, that's true.
But he did try to give himself purpose through other people.
And he gave Sarah Connor purpose. So Sarah Connor says, I show up where I'm told to show up. And it always says for John at the end of it. And this was Carl is what
Carl,
he goes by. Him trying to help her because she would just probably go nuts. And
she drank herself to death. I mean, she even admits to it early in the movie that all she does is kill these Terminators and drink until she blacks out.
Yeah.
So what would she do if she didn't have the Terminator hunting keeping her moving? She'd just drink herself into a hole.
So who are those Terminators always after?
I think they're after other Sarah Connors. Because the future is never set. We find that out because, of course, with Sarah Connor living and then John dying, it changed the future. Now we have Legion instead of Skynet. So it seems like every time she was being sent out, she was killing the next Terminator, going for the next Sarah Connor, shifting the timeline again. So this was just prolonging the inevitable, further confirming the fact that this has to happen.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it feels like that's what this movie was pointing at, is that it gave us all these breadcrumbs going, oh yeah, she's been doing this for 22 years. She has stopped, it's every 2 years?
Thereabouts, yeah.
So she stopped 11 of these things from happening. That means 11 times Skynet's equivalent was supposed to end the world, and she stopped it.
Yeah. Okay.
So that just means this is a cycle. Which, again, opens up the further movies down the line, but it also kind of gives us a reason. And that's also why I like Carl, because he doesn't become human. The robots can't be human. Yeah. There will always be a distinction. That's why there will never be a perfect one. That's why the T-1000 didn't work. That's why Grace doesn't really work. So it feels like this movie tries really hard to tie everything up in a nice clean bow, giving us a good ending with Carl and showing us the fact that Skynet does evolve past what it was at, but it couldn't do that because it had a prime directive, which was kill humanity. Mm-hmm. So it puts a lot of things in the universe in perspective, but it does nothing for this movie. Like, it makes this movie bog down so hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I like
That's
that.
why I'm still kind of firm. For as much as I like these aspects, that's why I'm really firm about the 4. Because it doesn't help this movie, it helps the IP.
Yeah.
So I can't really give this movie bonus points for saying, oh, you did something cool, because it doesn't help your movie. Your movie was still bogged down as hell with exposition.
Yeah, that is for sure. So Texas. So we find. We did get this conversation with Carl. He's out in Texas. He's got this family. This woman had been beaten by her husband or boyfriend or some guy, and he wanted to kill the kid for some reason. And he found this family not long after he had killed John Connor, and so he wanted this purpose, and so he formed a platonic relationship with this woman, and it he doesn't, it's not physical or anything, but they care about each other, which is like, all right. And she's never asked questions about who he is or why, and
they do gloss that over, especially at the end of this scenario where the kid and the wife go away. I was kind of like,
yeah, it seems like she should be asking so many more questions over the years than she has. But, you know, he says that he was reliable. He changed diapers without gagging or whatever. And he's extremely funny.
Which I really liked, to be honest. Again, I love Arnold. So.
He deadpans it so good.
Yeah, it's...
It was actually very well delivered.
Seeing him acting in this movie again actually made me really happy. I was more happy with the fact that I get to see him act again than I like this movie.
Did you like Sarah Connor's reaction to him, and what was your opinion of those two acting off of one another? Because of so much...
the chemistry was really good, and I honestly don't think they could have done that well had they just CG'd Arnold in. I think they had to be there for that, because that scene had such good chemistry, and it felt so real and raw. You could see the hate seething off this woman as she's shaking holding the shotgun. And you're like, she just wants to kill this fucker. She wants to kill him so badly, and she can't.
And then later on, when they're inside and he offers her a beer, and she's like, I'm never gonna fucking call you Carl. Or whatever.
It's this animosity. It's just so good. It works so well. The chemistry is great there between not only the actors, but the characters. It was well written. I loved the interactions. It made the movie to me.
I thought it was very, very good as well. I'm actually really... I'm kind of upset that we haven't seen Linda Hamilton in more things.
Because she is a good actor. She has a type of character she needs to play.
Yeah.
But she is a good actor.
I would just like to see her range a little more, but I don't even know what else she's ever been in.
She's been in some dramas, from what I know of her old
we're gonna find out right
yesteryear.
Now. IMDb. Tell me.
But also, I'd like to say, she looks great in this movie. Throughout the entire thing, she has the old grizzled look down pat.
Oh, yeah.
And it's also so different from how she looks in real life right now.
She was in the Defiance TV show.
Yeah. I didn't think she was very good in that. And I never saw it. I liked Defiance a lot.
I think I watched like the first 2 episodes or something. And I was like, this sucks.
It was a bad show.
Yeah.
It was also based off a video game.
Yeah. And bunch of nothing.
She's been in a lot of TV shows, but not a lot of ones that I've actually watched.
Yeah, that's too bad. Because I thought she did even a good job in the first couple Terminators, and so I'm a little disappointed that her career didn't take off better than it did. Lots of TV movies, TV series. Yeah, no wonder. She was in Dante's Peak.
Wow.
Yeah. T2 3D Battle Across Time video, sure.
Oh, yeah. I know what that's from. It's from an arcade cabinet.
Oh.
Yep.
Sure,
one of the 3D arcade cabinets. That's sad.
Yeah, she's been in a lot of stuff over the years, but she's just never...
Not anything very big, and...
Yeah.
I also really like the fact that she's in Gears 5.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't played Gears 5.
She has a cameo as herself.
Sweet.
Oh, well, as Sarah Connor, I should say.
So Sarah Connor's...
Connor's character, she's a reference.
That's actually...
It's really good.
That's cool. I like the Gears series.
Gears is good. wish they would move on to different characters.
I played through the first 3 or 4. I really like the progress through 50 different levels with a 4-person group.
Mm-hmm.
I made it through one of those all the way to 50. It took forever to do. You have to have a really good group in the right map, or you have to know where your map is the one with the ramp up the middle of it and it's in streets.
Mm-hmm.
That's
what you're talking about.
Yeah. I manned the turret over on the side.
I used to do a lot of that. That used to be my favorite way to play video games. Just get a group of guys together that you really like taking out with and just sit there for fucking hours.
Yeah, there was 4 of us, and then one of us had to leave for dinner, and then we got a 4th one, and he wasn't in our chat group, so the 4th guy but he stuck through it all the way with us. And our 4th person came back, and she couldn't get back into the team, and we're like, sorry.
Yeah, we're not going to kick this dude out just because you came back. He's still doing his job.
Yeah, he was fine. We were just waiting for him to leave or something because we were playing for hours. And I liked that game. It was a good game.
I missed that being a thing. That's not really a thing anymore.
That
type of gaming isn't really a thing anymore.
Is it because Is it because everyone's doing single-player Fortnite shit?
Single-player is almost dead.
Oh. Well, isn't Fortnite single-player?
No. Fortnite is Battle Royale, which is 100 people.
Okay, I meant single, you're on your own, you're not on a team.
Yeah, it also has a team mode, too. What I'm saying is, like, survival against PvE instead of PvP games almost don't exist anymore. You don't have modes like that anymore where it's round survival, where you can spend hours playing the same thing. Those almost don't exist anymore, which is sad.
I like those types of games because I'm terrible at PvP shooters, first-person shooters, PvP. I'm terrible at it. And
it's a generational thing.
Yeah, probably. I just never could do it good. And like Halos and all those, I couldn't do it. But Halo, I could beat it on the hardest difficulty. There's the story mode. I could do that shit. But I can't play against PvP stuff. I just get headshotted all the time. People snipe the shit out of me. I can't snipe. It's because
we can spend 8 hours in that game in between school.
You guys game really during school.
Yeah, that's more of a nowadays thing than when I was a kid.
Oh god, yeah. Some teachers, like I saw things. Some teacher told their kids to stop with the phones, and like you got to turn your phones off, and it made their schooling better. And it's like, well, no shit.
Yeah, really.
I mean,
guys,
all of us that didn't have phones growing up for school,
we know how this works because like when I was in school, we had Game Boys and. Game Boys were super easy to spot, and the minute they got spotted, they were fucking taken away because that's what you're supposed to do.
Now they're like, oh, you can't take my phone because what if my mom has to call me for an emergency? Your mom's not calling you, idiot. Shut up.
Take other people's property.
Well, confiscate it for a day, but then if I see it out again, I might just take it and break it. I don't care.
Still illegal.
Yeah, I don't know. We have to have different rules in our schools.
We do. No, I agree. There needs to be rules against phones in the schools because it creates distracting environment. And that seems to be all the rage these days about people creating distracting environments in schools. So let's bring up phones, the actual fucking distracting things in schools. Yeah. Yeah. Teachers are at such a disadvantage. I love teaching. I kind of thought about being a teacher. And then I think about it and I'm like, no, I'm going to have to deal with all those little shithead kids. It's part of the reason a lot of people like middle school and elementary school better. Most kids in those grades they have access to phones, but a lot of them don't have their own personal cell phones yet. Yeah, that's good. I think, I don't think our kids should have access to some of that stuff. There's exceptions. Yeah, of course there's some exceptions to the rule, but I think generally they don't need it. Yeah. I don't think it's necessary. And I think taking that stuff away makes them more aware of the world. Agreed. I'm actually really curious. So driving, right? I'm really curious if... there's a lot of foreign folks around here in the Northwest, and they come from places where driving is not really a thing that they do very often, or the rules of the roads are just terrible. Yeah. And so when they come here, they have no idea what they're doing. They're terrible at driving. And I think it's because they haven't been exposed to it the same way that American kids are exposed to driving
you know what I mean? Is like you see how your parents drive,
can
and then you know the rules just through osmosis. You don't have to actually go through it to know that you're supposed to. You can stop, but then sometimes you can go. Because out here, I have to take a left-hand turn on a busy road, and these idiots go out into the turn lane. They take their left-hand turn, get into the turn lane, and then stop. And and it's like, there's no one coming from the right side. Why don't you just look the right way and just keep going? But no, they're the worst, and I freaking hate these people. And so, yeah, I think it's, you learn how to drive before you actually learn how to drive. And in a lot of these cases, they don't know anything. So
that may be a factor, but there's also much bigger factors that contribute to that, including the fact that the rules of the road in every other country but ours are very different, with the exception of Europe.
Yeah, I think we're too. I think in some cases we're far too in love with the brakes, and we actually need to get on the gas a little bit. We're too defensive.
Our entire thing has been about preserving wealth, so our cars getting scuffed up became part of the reason our rules of the road are so strict.
Yeah, well, I'm furious every time someone dings my car, and it's happened a couple times. Because, it's parked, and people hit my car. And luckily I found them, and I extracted it out of them.
I extracted it from their brains.
You can take that however you want. I extract it and fix my car. So everything is dark.
my poor gold fillings. Oh, man.
So Texas has guns.
Yeah, and that gets brought up like 3 or 4 times as a joke.
Because Arnie keeps a bunch of guns in a shed. Do you think his wife...
she lives in Texas.
Well, do you think she knows about that shed?
She lives in Texas. Yes. She knows about it, and in fact, probably knows how to strip every single gun in there.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know, because it seems like if she just... You would think she would want to participate or something, but yeah, she's probably not.
It doesn't seem
gunfight.
Like her jam.
She ran away with her son, so I don't know. And yeah, do you think if Arnie had put the sunglasses on, he would have looked silly?
I'm so glad they didn't.
Good.
I think he would have. I'm so glad. I'm glad they referenced it. I'm glad they showed the glasses. I am fucking glad he did not pick them up and put them on his face.
I agree.
I would have been extremely pissed off and probably would have just tuned out for the rest of the movie.
Okay,
but seeing him go, no, and setting them to the side and going on was so perfect and so poetic that I can't see it any other way.
I thought it was a good move too.
It was brilliant.
I was like, sunglasses would look silly.
And it was a good representation of moving on. It is done. That part of my life, done. And he's a different person.
So then a major from a base, military base, commits treason.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Sarah Connor has a lot of friends.
Yeah. Holy shit. That's a good friend.
I mean, it's treason. We have a...
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's... Mm-hmm. And to acquire some EMP things,
yes,
bombs,
some EMP bombs,
from the military, because they just like have them for some reason.
I really hate how EMP is thrown around in movies like this, because that's not how EMPs work. EMPs are so specific.
Enlighten us. Come on, science guy. Put on your smock.
To cause an EMP, you have to fire a nuke in the atmosphere and detonate it.
Oh.
It's literally the fact that it has to be detonated in our atmosphere to do anything. And they just go, oh yeah, we have these 2 EMP bombs. And it's like, that's not... EMPs aren't a thing. They're an effect of a thing.
And they're in this handy-dandy case.
That's not bulletproof.
We'll
find out later.
With the nice foam cutouts so that they stay secured.
Yeah. But not bulletproof, because that'd be silly.
Yeah.
It's so hard to slap 2 steel plates on either side.
And anyway, that's where they get shot. As soon as they hand them over, they get shot.
Yeah, pretty much. It's so dumb. The next 30, not 30, probably 20, all the way up until after the aircraft scene is pretty dumb.
Did you like the aircraft scene?
No. I thought it was all dumb.
Okay, so these guys all hightail it to the base because so bad guy shows up in the helicopter, shoots at them, and then they're in a van, and they take off with their van and back to the military base, which is a couple miles away, and then they get into a C-5 aircraft, and then the majors, like, I gave you clearance, and everyone just goes, okay.
Yeah.
And
that's not how that works.
Yeah.
That was so dumb. The major going, yeah, they're good, they're contractors. No.
And then they just take a C5 and leave all the shit and all the...
And then get escorted by two F-16s later.
Which we only see one blow up.
Yeah, that was so... Again, I hated this entire set of scenes because it could have just been cut, and I would have been fine with it.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of this. And then, so there's a Humvee on the C5 plane. Anyway, the two planes run into each other. The bad guy jumps onto the one plane, and then stuff happens, and
they jump out in a Humvee that's set to parachute down.
Yeah, and then the carcass of the plane runs into a reservoir by a dam, which is wonderful accuracy for that, and then the Humvee comes down right on the dam, and then it goes over the dam, and this whole thing was like, really?
It was suspense and padding time.
Really?
It was getting us to the final scene that could have been done in so many different ways.
Yeah. I thought it was far too coincidental and silly, and
it was too, now we have this, and it was, and then, of course, he shows up and gives her meds.
Yeah.
After doing everything he had just done in between the plane and the ground, he didn't break the syringe and somehow hands it to her.
And he lost his arm. So Arnold Schwarzenegger's guy goes down with the plane and ends up underwater, beating up the antagonist and stuff. And he has a syringe full of meds just, in his pocket. In his
waistband or something for the Grace to use.
And so he's underwater, and everyone's underwater. There's an underwater fight, and
it was that's basically what the last 3 minutes before the best ending scene I think we've seen in a Terminator movie.
Yeah, I think the whole fight, because there's a lot of different guys doing stuff, everyone's fighting, and in the innards of the dam around the turbines.
Yeah.
And I thought it was good. You see the chain. Our Grace has the chain, and I thought that was cool. As we were saying, one of the biggest problems with action movies nowadays is that nothing's unique. We've seen everything, and even the chain we've seen in other stuff, but we don't see it very often. Mm-hmm. And so I thought it was good. How they did it. It's not unique, but it's fine. It hasn't been done so often that we're like, oh, that again.
Yeah, it's one of the little used weapons that when you see, you're like, oh, that's cool.
And how they used it to cut through the liquid metal guy was pretty cool, and chopping him up.
My entire thing is, she should have been attacking the skeleton, since she can actually affect him, and our Arnie should have been attacking the liquid guy. Because she can just, divide a liquid thing that can just reconjoin like we've seen it do 10,000 times.
Yeah.
See what I mean by her? She has some really cool stuff going for her.
Yeah.
But the way she's used in this movie is so dumb.
So you wanted her to use the chain on the...
Something that she could affect. Because, just watching her slash through or restrain him, she has ways to physically affect him, while with the other guy... You just watch her kind of go through this liquid with no resistance over and over again. It's a cool thing, and I really like that they went for something different. But they used it in a way where you don't get any satisfaction out of seeing her use it. You just get to watch her whip it around a few times, and then the fight's pretty much over. She pretty much didn't do anything.
Yeah, it was cool, but it ultimately was ineffective.
Yeah, especially because the part of the skeleton they really needed to kill, she didn't even fucking touch until the very end.
Yeah. Okay.
Arnie did all of the heavy lifting for this final scene, which was cool. It was nice seeing Arnold in his
he is a bodybuilder.
But then having this really cool main character you guys are toiting as the best, fighting with a cool weapon against something that isn't affected by the cool weapon.
Yeah.
While there's something conveniently 5 feet away that can be affected by the cool weapon. Why not just switch targets and simple writing from there?
Yeah.
It feels like they had a lot of cool stuff going for her and didn't use any of them properly. I think that's why I'm so disappointed with this movie, is because there was the building block for something so cool, and they just didn't do it.
So, as much as I hate this term, missed opportunities, because
Yeah.
people use it all the time.
I agree. It's overused, but
and it's
yeah.
like, a lot of your own ideas would suck too if you actually made them.
Oh,
so, like,
yeah, exactly. I'm not saying I'm any better than these guys or I know
I'm not
better,
attacking you,
but I do see what you mean.
I've asked people to make their own ideas. Like, well, okay, what would be your great idea? And they give the idea, and it's like, oh god, that sounds even
it's like that's
so
worse.
much worse.
It's like with this, it's just so easy to go, well, she can't affect him. Let her attack something she can affect in a meaningful way.
Okay.
And that to me feels like such an easy switch. Like, I get it, Arnold probably wouldn't be able to do a lot more to the Liquid guy anyways, but Arnold's also not the focus of this last movie. We've only seen him for the last half anyways. Why give him the spotlight at the very end when even during the last fight he disappears the later half? And then you just have the girls fighting for a little while.
Yeah.
And it's like, I get that Arnie needs something important to do here, and I'm glad that he does have a good character ending, but you still could have had that and had her as the main character of this movie, the main hero, fighting the thing that was actually causing the most damage.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Like, I do, for as much as this is worth, with as much as we've rated this movie so far, I did enjoy a lot of the aspects of this movie, but I did not enjoy the movie.
Yeah. Let's see. Is it? I mean, they throw the bad guy into the turbine, blow it up, and then they use the EMP that was in Grace's belly.
They use her power source to kill the last guy, and of course, Arnie has to. Do you want me to just take this part?
Oh yeah.
Arnie has to, of course, hold the guy down and make sure he goes down with the ship. He gets his final kind of, I don't want to say a meaningful stare, but a look of acknowledgement from Sarah Connor before he finally has his end at the hands of this robot with the explosion going off.
Would it have been better had she been like, damn it, I wanted to kill that fucker?
Okay.
Because she made a big deal about it.
Would it have been funnier? Yeah, I would have laughed my ass off. But would it have been better? I don't know, because I think with how it ended, and with everything we saw leading up to it, it felt fitting that it was kind of this solemn moment for her. That she kind of looks down at him and goes, fuck, maybe he wasn't so bad. And then walks away and has to live with that now.
It was a cathartic? Is that
it was
right
a cathartic lesson for her. It was a lesson of, it's time to let go. And it was a moment of passing the burden away. She got to let go of that.
Letting go of John.
Letting go of John. This was the final for John moment, and she got to let go of that, and her story comes to an end with that. And then, of course, the Terminators, the T-800s that we've been following for the past 3 decades, that's over. All of them are gone. There's no more Cyberdyne. Everything is done with them. They are never coming back.
Yeah.
That is a great way to write an ending, and that's the one thing I am happy they went for, was this really meaningful, cathartic ending. That, honestly, it had no right to be an action movie.
Yeah.
But James Cameron came through, like he does, and gave us this good ending. And props where it's due.
Yeah, I thought it was... I liked it. It was fine. I think if they had cut out the... so there's another part in this movie that I absolutely hated that we discussed briefly before we came on air. And that was the... so John Connor was the savior, and Sarah Connor was like, oh, it's not about you, Danny. It's about your womb. And then they're just... So it's about the kid that you're going to bear. And the man who's going to save it. It's like, are we so sure that her child would be a boy? I mean, it could be a girl.
Yeah, they also kind of hint at the fact that it's not.
Yeah.
Very early in the movie.
Yeah, and and then later on, we get Grace, and she's like, oh, by the way, I should have told you earlier, that it's not your child, it's you. That's the person that matters. And it's like, oh, Jesus.
To the credit of this movie, for the most part, there is no other spot in this movie where I could see them bringing that up.
Did they need...
Did they need to at all?
Yeah.
No, they shouldn't have said anything. They should absolutely not have said shit. They only threw that in there to give, again, another kind of cap on that story. Just to say it's done with. But the fact is, they shouldn't have said shit. They should have let that stay ambiguous. But they did. They put an answer on it, and at the end, it doesn't matter.
I mean, yeah, they didn't have to tell anyone who the savior was going to be. They could have just implied that it was going to be Danny, and which
they did. They pretty strong before they even admit this. They pretty strongly hint at the fact that Danny is the one who does this.
They didn't have to put in that flashback either of when she was a child and who saved Grace.
They didn't have to add any of that.
Which seemed weird anyway because she was so small.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that flashback. That's one of the parts of this movie I can't place because it doesn't feel right, but I can't really say it's wrong because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
Well, I think Danny's she's too short. She's too small in order for anyone to take her seriously as the leader of the resistance.
He followed Napoleon into battle.
And he lost.
At the end, yeah.
And so don't follow short people. Yep. You know who always wins? You know who always wins elections?
People above 6 feet?
The taller of the candidates. So, yeah, tall people are...
genetically better and superior in every way.
No. And, yeah, all I'm saying is that people gravitate towards taller folks as leaders, even when those tall folks should not be leaders.
Yeah. Even when they have no right being in that position. It's from childhood. It's because we look up to our parents, therefore when we look up, we think they're better. Yeah.
So anyway, a tiny little girl like Danny, I don't know how tall she is, but she ain't big.
No, she looks super... And I also can't place her age in that flashback because she's
the same damn age as... I mean, they didn't age her up at all. They just gave her cornrows.
And it's kind of like, I know, especially because when you see her later in the end of the movie, when you see her go check up on Grace, you notice that she even looks older in that than she did in the rest of the movie.
Hispanics age well, I guess. I don't know.
Well, that's just true. They just have the genetics for that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess she just looks like a kid for the rest of her life. And there's worse things.
Yeah. You're not going to be taken seriously.
Yeah, that falls under the fact that it doesn't really matter. She's not getting a story past this.
Hopefully not, no. I hope they end her character.
I don't think James Cameron would come back.
No, but that didn't stop him from doing the other Terminators.
That is true, but at that point, if James Cameron's not coming back, you and I aren't watching it.
Probably.
Yeah, so it's like, there's no point. Especially now the fact that, 3 through the rest are non-canon anyways.
Yeah. So, how was I supposed to feel about the Terminator? About Carl, the Terminator, after he died? How are we supposed to feel about that? I mean,
I think it's just supposed to be cathartic, to be honest, because they didn't linger on it long enough for me to feel like there needed to be a deep loss, because it even feels like the characters are like, he did his part, he did what he had to do. So I feel like that's what the movie was trying to show. I think if you look deep in there, you can probably find the fact that, Carl was such a good father figure, or read into it really deep if you want to. But honestly, he was a robot who played his part.
Mm-hmm.
He did what he had to do. He did exactly what he said he would do. And that's all you needed from him. He's dead now. His race is gone. It is over. He has no legacy except for his own son. But that's it. And that to me is a good ending for the T-800s and that generation. And in a way, this movie is closing off a generation.
Yeah.
I mean, think of all the kids who grew up watching Terminator.
The first Terminator's as old as I am.
I gestured to you because you're old. So just
Thanks. I appreciate
this is
that.
a good cap on the fact that people put their childhood and their adolescent years into this movie and they loved it. And
fucking kids nowadays need to show some elders some respect.
I respect you. Just not to your face.
Yeah.
Never to your face, Justin. I don't want you getting a big head, bigger than it already is.
Well, if you don't want to end up like Grace, then you need to be ready.
Yeah, be ready. The fact that that's the tagline of this movie is so dumb.
Yeah, it's the end where they go and check up on young Grace, and and then they drive off into the sunset together. Yeah. The two ladies,
and
it's fine.
It doesn't. It's fine, especially because it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
like after you get that kind of look down at Carl moment, everything past there doesn't matter because it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So we're in the clear. I'm still pretty strong about this movie being a 4 because it had a lot of really, really good concepts and aspects that it just didn't follow through with.
Solid 4. Good job, Terminator.
I'm still going to give them credit because they could have fucked this up really badly.
I was expecting it to be a lot worse from what I was hearing from people. Yeah, those folks that just revel in the hate of Star Wars and Terminator and Captain Marvel and Ghostbusters remake and all that stuff, where they just can't get enough of the failures. And while I ultimately agree with them on all of those movies, I just really dislike how they go about it. And so, but they all were prejudging this movie, and then they're like, "Yep, see, told you so." After it came out, and it's like, it's not.
After it came out, the first wave of audiences had seen it, and Rotten Tomatoes went on its first few reviews, and it was really low. But the fact is, it still just came out.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter what Rotten Tomatoes or any other critic says until about a week from now, when things actually get solidified and voted on.
Yeah.
Because that's when all the big stuff that are actually important are going to come out. So take what sources you guys watch with a pinch of salt, because a lot of them are just assholes.
A boulder of salt. Yeah. So, it's a fine movie. I mean, it wouldn't be so terrible just watching 1, 2, and this one in order, and actually seeing a nice character progression through all 3 of the movies for the characters involved.
And then seeing a nice end. Overall, this movie does the one thing I think it sought to do really well. It has a good ending. Yeah. And when I say good, I don't mean it's happy. I mean, it's a good, cathartic, meaningful ending. And that matters.
Yeah. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. Watch the first Terminator movie anyway, because it's great. Yeah,
it's a great movie. Arnold is still just as brilliant in that movie.
I love that movie so much. Even though I kind of... This is... When you watch old movies and you see stuff like he's messing with his face in that one, and it didn't age well. It looks so bad.
It didn't age well, but back then it looked great.
Yeah, but nowadays it looks so bad, and you can laugh at it. But it's not about that. It's about the it's about the
rest of it. It's about the atmosphere that movie created, especially
Very
in
much.
the time it created it.
Yeah.
Because those types of movies still weren't huge.
Yeah.
Those didn't really take off till the 90s.
The feeling of that movie, of Terminator 1, is fantastic. That you're on the run against this unstoppable thing, and you just have to...
It does not rest, it does not eat, it does not stop. It is just coming after you, and that is terrifying.
Yeah, and you feel that in the performances and the story of the first movie. So, just... Watch that movie if you want to watch a Terminator movie. It's fantastic.
But did you also notice the fact that it does not stop, it does not wait, stopped in this movie? Because all of them stopped and waited it multiple times.
Well, they had to wait for it to catch up.
The T-800 gets staggered a bunch and stops and takes his 5-minute rest. Grace goes out of consconness after 10 minutes of exercise.
That was so annoying that Arnie's laying there and then she's like, Sarah Connor.
Get up!
Yeah, just yelling at him to get up, and then he's just like, oh, okay.
It was dumb, but again,
it worked. Yeah,
it worked. It could have been done better. It falls under what the rest of this movie falls under. It had really good parts of it that it should have used better and didn't.
It had good bones.
It had a good structure going for it. It had great ideas, and then whoever was in charge of executing them kind of just phoned it in.
It had a good skeleton, but then the other parts just sloughed off. Yeah.
We've been the GreyVillains podcast, everybody. You can find us on Facebook at the GreyVillains.
At GreyVillain, you can find us on Facebook at GreyVillain Podcast. Hey, what are we seeing next week? I guess Dr. Sleep and Midway are coming out.
Oh, fuck. I guess we're seeing Dr. Sleep then.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch.
So sad.
It's the successor to The Shining. I need to actually watch The Shining.
Have you never seen it?
No, I haven't.
Have I told you how I watched The Shining the first time?
Did you? No, I don't think you have.
Okay, maybe. So the first time I watched The Shining was at Orlando has the Universal Studios.
Uh-huh.
I went there on their Halloween Fright Fest and watched The Shining at age 6 with my dad. And
nice.
At that, they had the twin girls, the original actors, standing up on the water tower at Orlando's Universal Studios doing a bit. It was a 30-minute thing with them and a bunch of their cast members. It was fucking hilarious. But that's how I originally got to watch it, and I got to watch it with stars from the movies there, and it was so cool.
That does sound cool.
Childhood.
Yeah. So yeah, next week, Dr. Sleep. Week after that, just Charlie's Angels, Ford vs. Ferrari, Good Liar. Who knows what's coming out?
I'm going to go see The Good Liar.
Yeah, I think The Good Liar is probably going to work. Actually, that could be really, really good. I hope it's really, really good.
I hope it's got a great cast.
Yeah. 21 Bridges is finally coming out on the 22nd, and it looks better. We just saw a trailer for it.
The trailer actually looks concise and has a story behind it. I'm not getting my hopes up, but it at least looks better than the first cuts we were getting.
Yeah, because those trailers looked like we had no idea what was actually happening in that movie. Knives Out. We'll see what happens there. Then who knows what happens December 6th. Yep. Jumanji, Star Wars. Yeah. So anyway, Facebook. Anything else we want to talk about?
No, actually, I'm pretty much out of stuff.
Okay. Facebook at GreyVillain Podcast, Twitter at GreyVillain Pod, YouTube GreyVillain. Like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the little notification button, so that way you can be notified every time we post a new review. Mm-hmm. Because we're good at them, right? No.
Yeah. I mean, I assume we are. I think we're
because we know that you like this stuff, and so you should be informed. Yeah. Everything you do helps spread the word, so comment and tell us why you hate Terminator or love Terminator.
Yeah. I mean, we all have a little bit of love in there for Arnie.
Always. Even though it's robotic and not real.
Yeah, it's not true human love, but it's a love.
It's a love. So the more you talk about us, more interaction, more eyes and ears. So anyway, stay cool.
Peace.